should have put in the cloud. Oh, well.
Yo,
You are a cloud.
back to school.
Almost.
Are you? Oh, so you? That's right. You guys haven't go. You don't go back until after Labor Day, right?
Yeah, we the ones. I think Miami and well,
No, Miami's back on.
Yeah.
My daughter started school. My son, we're gonna start him next month.
Oh, it's next month. I thought it was right around the same time as your daughter starting. No,
It should have, like it could have, and it would have, but
you kept them a little extra, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Not
Yeah.
ready. So another couple weeks.
Is it getting any better? Like, are you mentally moving in that direction, or are you kind of stuck in like, yo, this is gonna be a void?
Yeah, it's a void, bro. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm getting mad sensitive with these kids, man. These kids are fucking making me Mr. Softy over here.
What the hell?
This guy is drinking.
It's a hell of a jug, dude.
Yo, this is a gallon of water. Sorry. It wasn't supposed to be a conversation piece, but this way I don't have to get up to go get water. I just pound out the whole gallon whenever.
So you
Pound it
can,
out, huh?
Hey, you can pause, unpause it, however you want.
so you can drink it and then piss in it afterwards, right? It's that big.
That's how much you're supposed to drink in a day. That
You don't even have to go to the bathroom.
Right. That would be a nice enhancement. Like, just have something that you could let it go. Because when that water pee comes, bro, that shit is like an emergency. You got to run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So is this like the prescribed amount of water that people should be drinking, a gallon a day?
It's per body weight. It's for body weight.
It's more. Yeah, that's supposed to be more. I forget what it is. I think it's like half your body weight in ounces, if I remember correctly. But
like 3 of these is supposedly what I'm kind of supposed to be drinking.
Are you doing it?
I try. Sometimes I just don't have.
Right.
That means no.
The animal. These are 33.8 fluid ounces.
Shit. Hydration is important, bro. Better skin, just everything. Energy levels go up. It's pretty good.
But like everything else in this fucking world, the people, we know that water is good for you, and then you'll read this one article.
Yeah.
Drinking water is overrated.
Right.
If you drink too much, you could drown in your body, like some weird shit.
Yeah, like everything, bro. Too much is like. Did you guys heard about this? Was a long time ago. There was like a radio promotion, and it was like whoever could drink the most water in one sitting or something like that, and then the person that basically OD'd on water and died.
Right. Well, on the Howard Stern show, on the Howard Stern show, somebody I think like overdosed on water or something happened.
It might have been that. It's bugged out. Anyway, back to the empty nesting concerns. So you're more sentimental now that you have 2 kids. I remember when the second child was coming into the picture, right? When your son was being, practically born. Mm-hmm. You were having kind of a similar situation, but it was compounded. So your daughter was, going to school or on her way to school, if I remember correctly. Then you had your son coming. So there was like a combination of factors affecting you then. You had some of the empty nesting because of your daughter going away to school, and then your son coming into the picture and feeling like you couldn't necessarily focus all your attention on him because your daughter was going to feel away. Mm-hmm. How are those 2 still like significant factors now that your son is moving into school? Like
the thing with my daughter?
Yeah. Like your attention to your son, is she more forgiving about it?
Yeah, I think that I'd like to think that I've that I give a good balance of attention, and I try to be hyper aware if I'm giving one attention, like kind of like where the other one seems to be at, if they're paying attention, if they look, and and they still fight over me, like wanting to be one. If one's on my lap, the other one fights to want to be on my lap and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think I'm doing a good job of balancing it, and I think my daughter is getting better at it, where it's not bothering her as much. Where now it's flipping, where he's being bothered by her getting something, her getting attention, her being on my lap, her being hugged. Like he's the one that tries to wedge in. He's the one who says, no, me. So I don't know if that's learned behavior because she was doing it so much, and he, it's like he was the nice guy, and then finally he's like sick of it. I don't know.
Oh man.
But it is getting better. My daughter's getting a little better. I mean, she's inching towards being better with him, but she's definitely, we're having like these bratty episodes with her. like that's getting pretty bad. And then he's in the quote unquote terrible twos, and we kind of see some of that in him. So, but I'm starting to worry about her and just her brattiness, her being spoiled, and I'm like we're kind of like we don't know what to do with it sometimes because she's just like, oh, my daughter's dramatic.
Who's the disciplinarian between you and your lady when it comes to like your daughter, for example?
I don't think either of us are good at it, and we're both we both try to do it.
Yeah.
Like we both look at each other crazy when one of us gets mad at her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Why'd you
Like
do
look
that?
at her like you're a little too over. You're going a little overboard. You know.
Right.
But then I'll like when my girl does it to me, I'm like, brother, just yesterday you was giving her the evil eye and talking crazy to her, and you yanked her arm. And now you're gonna get mad at me because something happened where my daughter we bought this like train that they could actually drive, like one of those not remote, but one of those cars that they could drive, but it's a train because my son loves trains. So it's a little train. And he still doesn't know how to really drive it yet, so she's the one who drives it, and it fits both of them. But he's trying. So he tried to get on it, and my daughter saw him like hopping on it and decided now's a good time that she wants to be the one hopping on it. She wasn't paying no mind to it before that. Yep. So she goes over to him and he's like, no, me. And they're doing like this little wrestling match on top of it. She's stronger, of course. So she like does this like, I did it to my girl. She got pissed. Like, like when someone like just mushes you out of the way with their elbow or their arm, but she's doing that with her leg to like his like upper body and face. She's like to climb on the thing. She puts her leg on him and like mushes him out of it pretty aggressively, where it got me pissed. And then he like slips off and falls on his back. He doesn't get hurt, but it's just like all of it is very dramatic, and aggressive. And I look at her like, the fuck, who are you, man? And then she stands there with her one leg, because I got mad. I yelled at her. She stands there with her one leg on top of the train thing, like she's about to continue getting on it. And I'm like, oh hell no, you're not getting on this thing. And I'm like, get off. And she doesn't listen. That's the thing. That's the issue we're having. She just doesn't listen to no. She doesn't listen to don't do that. She just doesn't listen. And because I was already pissed about how she was so aggressive, and then she's not listening, that I go and I remove her leg forcefully. Like, not crazy, but I'm saying like I had to use force because she's like keeping it on there with all her weight. So I move her leg and she falls.
Child abuse, right?
No, man. It sounds crazier than what it is. I just move her leg, but I had to like kind of, grab it. And she loses some of her balance. She loses her balance and she falls back. And she should be playing in the NBA or the WNBA, when they do the fall and they'll go crazy and then foul, whatever. She does this to the T. Like, she falls and then she just starts crying, And then my girl sees that part of it. I thought she saw everything because it was right next to her. And she looks at me like, well, but why? Why would you, like, what are you doing? Like, just let her. And I'm like, let her what? Like, like, she's wilding, like, and she's fine. and so that's where, we kind of like, we always look at each other crazy when we're the ones being, the disciplinarians.
In your house, Kay, I think it's your lady, right? This is disciplinarian?
We take turns.
Okay. You guys like coordinate. You do the good cop, bad cop type of routine.
I think it just really depends on which one of us, whatever happens, annoyed us.
And then the other one just falls back and kind of tries to
lets it, because otherwise it's too much.
That's good. I've been trying my best on that, and I've been making progress, but not fast enough. And similar to your situation, Kay, like, I'm sorry, E, when I had just come back from vacation. While we were on vacation, my son, we talked about this ad nauseum, I think, at this point, but like, he's addicted to his device, fucking Roblox 100% of the time if he could. So when he wakes up first thing in the morning while we're in the hotel, he's like, all right, let me go grab my iPad, and like not worrying about, the only thing he does is like brush his teeth. And then after that, he's just
on
like on his device. And so it was one morning when we were going to kind of race.
You get concerned at all when you start seeing that?
I'm always concerned about it, which is kind of what pisses me off. And then I kind of not blow up, but like I kind of addressed it with him multiple times, almost every day. So this day we were getting ready to leave early from the hotel to go, grab chairs at the resort and like go be by the pool and all that kind of stuff. So before we go, like, get your sun lotion and all that kind of stuff together before you start doing anything else, right? Like get prepared so we can bounce. He didn't take the initiative to do that. And then we're scrambling. So I get upset with him. I'm like, yo, you see? I'm like, yo, this fucking iPad has always got you like off your shit. And then we dropped it. And then like a minute later, he's like in the way of where I was walking toward. So I bump him, kind of like a mush, like you was talking about, right? On his chest. And I kind of push him away a little bit.
I'm sure your wife didn't like that.
Nobody liked it. I mean, we kind of play like that. But because it was so close to me being angry with him, in his mind, he connected the two. Right. This is a consequence of me not doing my thing. So my dad's upset. This is kind of him being upset. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. I was kind of more playing with him. So it wasn't like I shoved him out of the way, like on some like crazy shit. But I did nudge him. And I could tell that didn't rub him the right way. And like an hour later, I'm looking at him and he's not good. Like you could tell something's up. So I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? Like, you all right? And it took me a little bit, but he finally shared, like, you pushed me earlier. And I was like, yo, you've been holding on to that for an hour already? I was like, yo, all right, my bad. If you didn't like
you're
it.
a dick, man.
Yeah, I'm a dick. But I apologize, and I told him, look, that's not I was playing, but I get why you took it that way because it happened so quickly after I was upset with you. And we had a little bit of a dialogue, and then I was like, yo, listen, no matter how crazy the situation might be or how much you think that I'm not going to listen to you, you got to share how you feel because you shouldn't be holding on to shit. Like we should have the conversation. And like, if there is justification as to why that whatever happened, like I'll explain it to you in a more calm situation, but we have to address it. We can't just let that shit simmer.
At least you could tell he was off.
I can always tell with them. Like this, I could tell sometimes before maybe they just don't admit it, but before they even realize it. And the same shit happened with my daughter later in the day. I didn't push her. She was just bothered by some shit, and we had the same conversation. So it was like, I say all that, yes, to express what happened and how we resolved it. But like, do you find yourself, Kay, like in situations like that with your son? Just because he's a little older than Ease, I feel like you might come across it more often.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where he could do something to annoy me, and there have been times where it's like I may have snapped at him where I probably didn't need to, but I did, and then I can tell right away that his demeanor is like something has changed in the air. And that then he'll tend to like want to go hang out with mom a bit more. You know what I mean? And stay away from me. And so
you're on the shit list now.
Yeah, basically.
And do you find yourself snapping more when you're like stressed from work?
Yeah. I mean, and we've had a lot between moving and work and then all this stuff happened at the same time with just keeping up with work, my wife's new job, moving, then it's like his birthday hit around the same time, all this and then starting a new school, you know what I mean? So there's just been so much stuff going on that I've definitely found myself like when I'm in more of a stress scenario, that I'll be a little quicker.
You're short on patience.
And have to remind myself that he's probably feeling the same way too, just in a different way because of all these different changes and things that are happening too. So like he might be, sometimes I'm wondering like, damn, why are you asking me so many questions when you see I'm in the middle of trying to just get things done? But then I also forget that he's, his everything is different. So he's trying to just, feel safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I find that to be an issue for me as well. Like when I'm stressed out, my patient level is gone, and although like normal things that my kids will do that that either they shouldn't be doing or just, would annoy anybody, but you have the patience because they're young and you kind of give them that leeway. But when I'm stressed out over something, man, my patience is just not there and I feel terrible about it.
Yeah. I also forget that he's young.
Yeah.
I don't know if this happens with you guys as well. I mean, Manny in particular, since your kids are a little older, but it's almost like, now that he's at an age where we have rational conversations and, deeper conversations about things, and he's just so aware of things that sometimes it's hard to remember that he's only 9 now, just 10. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, if he messes up on something or he's, being a certain way or whatever, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he should know this already. But then I have to remind myself, well, damn, he's still just a little kid. And it is hard to put those two together sometimes, especially when, like I said, at least for me and the way I deal with my son, he just seems so much older and aware of what's going on. But I take that for granted sometimes because I just see him as older than he is sometimes.
It's one of the
For
hardest
20 more years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the hardest things we struggle with in our house because our kids are very bright. Even my 6-year-old, like every day we learn something new from them that we feel like we didn't know at their age, right? No matter which of the three. And so we put that responsibility on them, blindly put it on them like, yo, you're a peer in certain conversations, in certain scenarios. Like, you're not my kid. You're kind of more like you are, but you're old in our the way we deal with them, right? And so it is like, and a lot of times we find ourselves apologizing. And for those listening, like, there's a great power in you apologizing to your kids when you know that you fucked up, because we're trying our best not to fuck up. Like, that's kind of our purpose, right? Why we do this podcast, but ultimately what we're trying to achieve as parents. But you being able to acknowledge your fault and take accountability for it and then explain to them why you're sorry and really meaningfully like have that dialogue goes a tremendously long way. Like, we've seen it be really beneficial with our 15-year-old. And we, like I said, and we congratulate her all the time. We're like, yo, you've exceeded our expectations in everything that you do. And because for her, she doesn't understand, like, she's just routine like anybody. You go through your day, you're doing your shit until somebody acknowledges what you're doing. You don't even sometimes even realize how much you've accomplished, right? And so those two things, like apologies and also like acknowledging how proud you are as often as it makes sense to do so, huge when it comes from the heart.
Yeah, I apologize often. So I'm wondering if too much apologies don't count, like work against you.
Like, it's watered
Well,
down.
yeah, I mean, I think of it in the context of like my son. Like, if we've had conversations about things, and I'm like, all right, I hope you're soaking this in and putting it into, using whatever mistakes you've made as a teaching tool. But then, then he might mess up or whatever. And if it's like the same kind of thing over and over again, then you still hear the sorries. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's another one of those, like, I don't want to be snappy or I don't want to downplay it, because then I find myself saying, well, all I keep hearing is sorry. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, damn, that sounds kind of harsh. Maybe he is sorry, but then it's also like, well, you should know better by now. You don't do the same thing and then keep saying sorry for it all the time. So maybe that's what you're feeling, is that, like, it's that maybe it's sorry for the same thing, and why does it repeat?
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, because I'm always apologizing if I feel like I overreact to something, because I'm very like impulsive in my reactions to something. I'm very whatever, the loud Cuban guy that's gonna be like, hey! And then I feel like maybe that was a little too much, and I say, I'm sorry, and I get down to her level. My daughter usually is the one, and I tell her I'm sorry, and I just feel like, man, can it does it mean something if you continue to do it? I mean, I don't do it that much, but I just do it enough where I'm like, either I have to correct what I'm saying sorry for, and like, why can't I just correct this? Or it's just not that she's gonna be like, you ain't fucking sorry.
Yeah, I think it does start to mean less the more you hear it, especially no matter parent or adult, if it is tied to the same kind of thing, because that means whoever is sorry isn't really trying to correct or having a hard time correcting whatever it is they're sorry for.
And it could be like what you said, it could be teaching them that it's a word to just be using. Like my daughter's always like, I'm sorry for everything. And it's like, but then she'll do it again right there after she says, I'm sorry. And then she'll say, I'm sorry right after. And it's like, yo, why are you even using the word sorry anymore? Like,
right.
You should just be telling me I'm going to do it again right now.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's both things can be true, right? If you're constantly saying sorry, then yeah, it's gonna water it down and it's gonna mean nothing after a while. But if those I'm sorry's are heartfelt and you like really engage in like the conversation around why you are, I think it does mean something. But again, like you have to try to correct the behavior, or else you fall in the rut of like, this person's not dependable. I shouldn't believe what they're saying.
I mean, I don't think I do it as much as in my mind that I think I do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I do it heartfelt, but yeah, I think about that often. I'm like, damn, maybe she's probably like, yeah, whatever, bro. You ain't sorry. You did that yesterday,
I think you still got time before that kicks in.
Yeah, fellas, I see the fatherhood signal on my end. I gotta make that mission.
Yeah. And I was about to get into alternate realities and shit like that, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Living in a simulation.
All right.
Peace.
Later, guys.